Hello and welcome to this short video about Jaguar XK8 changing your oil and oil filter. This is episode 39 in my series of short videos about how I'm maintaining my Jaguar XK8, and in this video I'm going to show how to change your oil and filter, or how I change my oil and filter, and give you some tips along the way to make it as easy as possible and avoid any problems. Okay, so the tools I used were a 13mm socket, an 8mm socket, a filter grip tool like this, and a ratchet. As easy as that. So consumables, obviously you're going to need an oil filter, a new sump plug, and some oil. I've covered engine oils in a different video if you'd like to see that. The prompt will come up now. I'm using 5W30 in this grade with the Ford WSS M2C 913B grade. Now, in an XK8, you're going to need 7.3 litres if you've got an oil cooler, or 6.5 litres with an oil cooler. Obviously, you're going to have to buy 2 lots of 5 litre containers, but in case of any doubt, you can see if you've got an oil cooler because it sits just in front of the aircon radiator and behind the power steering cooler, just behind the bonnet here. If you can't get access to that and see that, you can also see the oil cooler pipes coming out of the bottom of the engine. This is the crankshaft pulley here, and the alternator pulley and the idler, and they sit just underneath there. If you've got oil cooler pipes there, you've got an oil cooler. Okay, as I say, I'm using my oil changes 5W30 Ford WSS M2C 913B grade. You can also use AAC EA3 grades of that oil. Okay, next in preparation, I actually jacked the vehicle up 200mm to gain access to the sump plug. You can do with that a basic set of car ramps. The top tip here's a top tip: get 2 bowls. Now, it may sound very simple, but when you drop 7 litres of oil, it's going to take more than one bowl. And if it does fill one complete bowl, 7 litres of oil is very, very heavy. So top tip, have 2 containers to distribute the weight and the bulkiness of the oil. Okay, the first thing you gotta do is get rid of or take off the alternator air duct scoop here. You need an 8mm socket for that. Just take the bolt out and it just pulls off. Next, you need to undo the sump plug itself. The 30mm socket comes in there to untighten it. And then remove the sump plug by hand. Once you've untightened it, you should be able to just screw it out by hand. And this avoids getting the oil everywhere, all over your ratchet. Then you can literally just drop the oil into the container, let it drop into the container. While that's happening, you can get on and take your filter off. So you take your filter strap tool and basically turn it anti-clockwise to remove it. Very, very simple. As I say, the fuel filter, as I've seen here, and the filler plug are both very accessible once you've got the car up in the air. I've had lots of cars we've been really horrible places, up the back of the engine, behind the bulkhead, everything. But this one's very, very user friendly. Now, what I did is I allowed the filter to drain before removing it, because it's quite a big filter, and there's a lot of oil contained in there. So you just let both of them drain out slowly. Obviously, what I didn't mention is that in order to drain the oil out in the most efficient ways, you need to have the engine warm to start with. So ideally, warm your engine up before you even start this procedure. Sorry, I missed that out at the beginning. Okay, so now you've removed the old oil. You can see there's quite a lot of it. Looking at the colour of my oil, I wish I'd changed it a bit sooner. It looks very burnt and brown. I'm not very happy with that, but it is what it is. I've got new oil in it now. So in order to put everything back, first of all, you need to lubricate the seal of the oil filter with old oil or new oil in order for it to seal properly. Then use the ratchet strap again, tighten the filter up here clockwise. Then you need to fit your new sump plug. Now, why do you need to fit a new sump plug? Well, it's because the Jaguar sump plugs have a rubber O-ring or rubber seal on the bottom of it. And you can see on the left, the old one, the seal is actually crushed. You can see bits of it coming up the threads here. It's been crushed that much. This will not seal properly, or it'd be very unreliable sealing. So for the sake of a few pounds or a few dollars, buy yourself a new one. You can see how fresh that seal is. Look how much it is above there. It looks in much better condition. So that's why you need to, it's always best to buy some plugs. Not all cars need some plugs. A lot of them have copper washers and what have you, or doughty washers. But this one's inbuilt with its own seal, so it's best to buy a new one every time. Okay, same procedure with that. I lubricated the sump plug seal with a bit of oil to stop it picking up and ripping the rubber. And then fitted it back in the sump. You can see I've freshened up the sump here. That's subject to another video. You'll see the prompt coming up here. Tighten that 13mm socket up to 25 to 30 Newton meters. And then add your old oil. Your new oil. So you remove the oil filler cap from the left-hand side of the engine, looking from the passenger compartment, and fill it up. Ideally with 6 litres or 7 litres to start with, depending on your oil cooler. So what you need to look then is using your dipstick, you need to check the oil filler level. There's 2 machined holes in the dipstick. Now these mark the minimum and the maximum level. And ideally you want your oil between these 2 marks. I believe the difference between the minimum and maximum is normally 1 litre. So ideally if you put 6 litres of oil in your car to start it, you're going to be around the minimum or just below. And then you can put the other lot in to go from there. So once you've got a reasonable amount of oil in there, start the car up, let the engine circulate the oil, and then you can do the same thing, check the oil again. If it needs more oil, top it up. Whilst the engine's been running, have a look underneath, see if you've got any leaks. Make sure it's not leaking from the oil filter or the plug or any of the sump casing seals. Finally, you need to fit the alternator air duct back on, whichever way up you prefer. I'm going to do another video on that because it easily gets mixed up, and there are preferences for people which way they put them up. So that's it. That's how I change my oil and oil filter. Hope you find that informative. And for people who are paying 400 plus for service, these parts are roughly less than £100 to do everything, including the air filter. So if you can do it yourself, you're going to save quite a lot of money, and you'll know what oil is going in your engine. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you found it interesting. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe if you'd like to see more XK8 videos.